Welcome to Mathmania Academy. In this lecture, we are going to discuss the linear algebra questions which were asked in December 2019. The first question is, for t in real numbers, m of t is defined like this. Then we will have to identify which of the following statements is true. So, among this, only one statement is going to be true. Okay. If you look at all the options are talking about the determinant of m of t. So, let us calculate the determinant of m of t. So, if we expand this along the first row, we would get 1 times of 1 minus t square minus t times of 1 minus 0 then plus 0. So, it is simply 1 minus t square minus t, right? Okay, and this is our determinant of m of t. Okay, so determinant of m of t is minus t square minus t plus 1, right? Okay, the first option says that it is a polynomial function of degree 3 in t. No, it is a polynomial function of degree 2 in t. Okay, and option 2 claims that determinant is 0 for all t in R. Not so. If for all t in R, if it has to be 0, then we must get this expression to be equal to 0. That is not going to happen, right? And option 3 claims that this is equal to 0 for infinitely many t in R. Is it true? Okay, let us check. Let us equate this to 0 and solve it for t. Then what would we get? We would get plus 1, 1 plus 4 upon minus 2. So this is what we would get, right? So we have for two values in R, okay, for this value minus of this quantity and minus of this quantity, only for these two values we get determinant of m of to be equal to 0. So for exactly two values in R, we are getting it to be 0. Option 4 is the true one, right? Moving to the next question. Here it says this, we have a quadratic form in three variables over R. Okay, so basically we have a quadratic form x transpose x. This would be a function of like three real variables x1, x2, x3. Okay, and for which R is the rank and S is the signature. Then the number of possible pairs R comma S. This is what we'll have to calculate. Okay, so what can be the rank of the quadratic form? Rank of Q can be either 0, 1, 2 or 3, right? Okay, when okay, this is what they have taken as this rank they have taken as R, right? Okay, let us consider the case when R is 0. When can the rank be 0? Only when the matrix itself is 0, which means the quadratic form itself is a 0 1. So in this case, what can be the signature? There is zero positive eigenvalue and zero negative eigenvalue. Therefore, your S is also 0. So this gives you the pair 0 comma 0, right? Okay, when your R is 1, okay, when your R is 1, what happens? You will have only one linearly independent row or a column. Okay, without loss of generality, we can take A to have only one linearly independent row and the rest zeros, right? So in this case, what can be your eigenvalue? Okay, without even here, without loss of generality, you can have this entry to be non-zero, the rest as 0. Okay, there is no harm if you have considered here also the things. But if you look at the eigenvalue of this matrix, okay, Ca of x would be simply x minus this entry. Okay, so whether this is positive or negative, that determines the eigenvalue. Okay, the rest two eigenvalues are 0 only. Of course, the rest two eigenvalues are 0, but this entry is positive. If it is positive, then your eigenvalue is positive. If it is negative, then your eigenvalue is negative. So you will have rank S can either be equal to 1 or minus 1. Number of positive eigenvalues, it will be either 1. Okay, 1 minus 0 or 0 minus 1. That is going to happen. So here you will have 1 comma 1 as one pair or 1 comma minus 1 as the other pair, right? So that is what we will have to calculate here. Then r equals 2. In this case what is going to happen? You will have here the entry is 0. Okay, so without loss of generality, your characteristic polynomial will be something of this form, right? Your characteristic polynomial will something be of this form. So if it is so, then what are the possibilities? The possibilities are, you may have both roots equal. You may have both roots equal. Then both roots unequal. So when both roots are equal, you have two possibilities: both positive or both negative. If both are positive, you will have this pair 2 comma 2. If both are negative, you will have 2 comma minus 2. The number of positive eigenvalues and the number of negative eigenvalues, that is what we are considering, right? When both are unequal, then we will have the possibility both real and both complex. This is also possible, right? Yeah. When both are real, then again both can be positive or both can be negative. In that case, we'll end up with the above two pairs itself. If one is positive and one is negative, then we would have 2 comma 0. When both are complex, then also we do not have any positive or negative thing. So then also we will have to consider this 2 comma 0 case only, right? And when r equals 3, so when r equals 3, your characteristic polynomial will be something of this form. So in this case, what are the things you will have? You will have all the roots real, okay, or one real, two complex, because this is a polynomial with real coefficients, right? So when this is gonna happen, when one real means it can be either positive or negative. If it is positive, you will have 3 comma 1 this pair. If it is negative, then you will have 3 comma minus 1 this pair. Okay, so this is what we are going to have. In this case, when all are real, if all are equal, if all are equal, I think you may not be able to see here. Let me write here. When all are equal, if that value is positive, then you would have 3 comma 3 this thing. If the roots are negative, then we would have this pair. Okay, when two are equal, in that case the two can be either positive or negative. So if you look for all the possibilities, you will end up with only these four things. So if you just count the total thing, here you have one, here you have two, here you have three options, and from this you have four options. If you add all these things, you are going to get 10. So there are 10 possible pairs, right? Moving to the next question. Here you have a 4 by 4 matrices, right? We are collecting the matrices satisfying this condition. Then we'll have to identify the dimension. Okay, this you can very well find out. Okay, so basically what is dimension of M4 of R? It is 16, right? So dimension of Mn of R is n square, because this Mn of R is isomorphic to Rn square over R, right? So these are some elementary results in linear algebra through which we can write this one. Okay, now let us see how many restrictions we have here. Okay, since M4 of R can be treated as Okay, the structure can be treated with the structure of Rn square over R. You just identify the number of linear independent restrictions here. When you choose k equals 2, you have I plus j equals 2. Then you have I plus j equals 3. Then I plus j equals 4. I plus j equals 5. I plus j equals 6, I plus j equals 7, I plus j equals 8. So altogether you have 7 restrictions, 7 linear independent restrictions. Therefore, dimension of W would be dimension of M4 of R minus this 7, that is nothing but 16 minus 7, which is 9. Okay, this is one way. The other way is to calculate this one. If you know the result, then you can very well make use of this thing. If you do not know the result, write down a matrix, any matrix, a general thing. Okay, a11, a12, a13, a14, a21, a22, a23, a24, a31, a32, a33, a34, a41, a42, a43, a44. Okay, and if you notice, only this thing, if you add the indices, you get the sum 2. If you add the indices of these two entries, you get the sum 3. If you add the suffixes of these three elements, you get sum 4. Okay, if you add these 4 entries, you get the sum 5, and if you add the suffixes of these 3 elements, you get the sum 6, these two sums to 7, and this one to 8. That is 1 plus 1 is 2, 2 plus 1 is 3, 1 plus 2 is also 3, 3 plus 1 is 4, 2 plus 2 is 4, 1 plus 3 is also 4, 4 plus 1 is 5, 3 plus 2 is 5, 2 plus 3 is 5, 1 plus 4 is 5. So this is what they have given the things. A11 should be equal to 0. A21 plus A12 is 0. A31, A22 plus A13 is 0. A41 plus A32 plus A23 plus A14 should be equal to 0. So, like I'll explain with these 4 equations, the rest 3 you can very well calculate. This forces the first entry should be 0. Okay, we have no other go, this should be 0. Right? Here, you are free to choose one variable, the other variable should be the negative of the first variable. You can choose either A21 or A12, that is clearly up to you. So, this variable depends on this A21, right? And if I choose this one, if I bring this one to the other side, this is what I have, right? So, I can freely choose these two variables, and I'll have to write the negative of the sum of these two things as the A13. So this one I can write it as some other function of the sum of these two things. So in this way, here and all we lose the independence. These can be written with the help of other entries as well. Now if you just calculate, if you look for the free variables, there are only 9. So 9 is the dimension of W. Okay, the number of free variables that are required to write down the matrices in W is the dimension of W. Okay, moving to the next question. Here, if you see, V is given to be the vector space of dimension 3 over R, and T is from V to V, it is given to be a linear transformation given by this matrix, okay, with respect to the ordered basis. Then which of the following are true? So first of all, this A is a matrix. Okay, if you choose the collection of this basis to be B, then the transformation is your matrix A. So then how do we write it? So we just apply V1 first of all, and This one we write it as like alpha 11 v1 plus alpha 12 v2 plus alpha 13 v3. Okay, then t of v2 would be alpha, just a minute, I think I am making some mistake. So this is alpha 21, this is alpha 31, this is alpha 12 v1 plus alpha 22 v2 plus alpha 32 v3, and t of v3 would be alpha 13 v1 alpha 23 v2 plus alpha 33 v3. So this will contribute the first column of the matrix, isn't it? So basically what we have is tv1 is v1 from the matrix I am writing 1 times of v1 plus 1 times of v2 minus 2 times of v3, and t of v2 is minus 1 times of v1 minus 4 times of v2 plus 5 times of v3, and t of v3 is 0 times of v1 plus 3 times of v2 minus 3 times of v3. Okay, so from here it is very trivial that t of v3 is not 0, for option 1 is false. Okay, uh, t of v1 plus v2, it is clearly given that t is a linear operator, right? So it is a linear transformation, so this can be written as t of v1 plus t of v2. So if you just add these two things, you would get minus 3v2 plus 3v3. Okay, and t of v1 v2 v3 is nothing but t of v1 plus t of v2 plus t of v3. Okay, so you just add these things, 0 0 again 0, yeah, so option 3 is true. Okay, and t of v1 plus v3 you can very well check. This is simply t of v1 plus t of v3, and this would be v1 plus v3, so you would get v1 plus 4v2 minus 5v3, which is minus times of t of v2, but they have given it as simply t of v2, that is wrong. Okay, moving to the next question. Here we are given the set of all continuous real valued functions on 0 1. In that space they are defining a mapping, okay, in this fashion, and we'll have to examine which of the following statements are true. They are claiming it is an inner product. If it has to be an inner product, then what should be the case? Like uh, inner product of f of f, this should be greater than or equal 0, right? Okay, f of f is what? According to the definition, this is simply f square dt. If I define my f of x to be equal to minus 1 for all x in this interval, what do I have? Interval 0 to 1, f cube dt. So it would be simply 0 to 1 minus 1 whole cube dt. So this is minus 0 to 1 dt minus 1, this is minus 1, which is not clearly bigger than or equal 0, so this is not an inner product. Okay, and if you have to check the bilinearity, you can very well try and check f plus g, like f1 plus f2, this would be, sorry, f1 plus f2 comma g would be f1 comma g plus f2 comma g, this you would get. Whereas if you find f of g1 plus g2, this is not exactly equal to f1 comma, sorry, f comma g1 plus f comma g2. The problem is here, this is not a linear term, the second one is not linear, so you can very well try and identify this is not a bilinear thing. Okay, so the option 4 is the first condition for an inner product. When we tried, we saw that this is not an inner product itself. So option 1 and 4 were like they were discarded then and there itself. The question was to find only the bilinearity, that is not also happening, hence option 3 is the true one. Moving to the next question, we have a matrix A, okay, and we'll have to examine the system of linear equation will have a solution or not. Okay, first of all, when do this system has a solution? Only when rank of A is same as that of rank of AY. Okay, identify. Okay, first let us try and identify the rank of A. For which let me calculate the determinant of A, which is 2 times of 2 minus 15 minus 0 plus 5 times of 5 plus 2. So it is 2 times of minus 13 minus 26 plus 35, which is clearly not equal to 0, which means rank of A is 3. When you have rank of A is 3, this clearly implies that your rank of AY is also 3, because the number of linearly independent columns in A itself is 3. When you include Y and form the augmented matrix that will have 4 columns, the maximum rank can only be 3. Since A has 3 linearly independent columns, rank of AY should be equal to 3. So no matter what Y you choose, your system will have a solution. So option 4. Right? Okay. Then we have a question. This you may treat it as a question from linear algebra or from the complex analysis. It's completely up to you. Now let me just solve it. Okay. So we have a mapping that is defined from the set of complex numbers to M2 of R given by the map. When you take a complex number, you can write it as x plus iy, and this is how the mapping is defined. We'll have to identify which of the following statement is false. Right? Okay. So here, if I write my z1 as x1 plus iota x2 and z2 as y1 plus iota y2, or you may take the other way around, it is completely up to you, right? So what would be my z1 z2? It would be x1 y1 minus x2 y2 plus iota times of x1 y2 plus y1 x2, right? So find t of z1 z2. So by definition it is x1 y1 minus x2 y2 minus times of x1 y2 plus y1 x2. Then here I would have x1 y2 plus y1 x2, and this is simply x1 y1 minus x2 y2, right? Now I think you guys can very well calculate this one. This would be simply x1 minus x2 x2 x1, and this is y1 minus y2 y2 y1, and do this thing, you would see the same matrix. Okay, you will get the same thing. So this is basically a true statement. Okay, and when do we say a matrix is singular? If the determinant is 0, right? So determinant of t of z is nothing but simply x square plus y square. The sum of two non-negative quantities is 0, which is possible only when these two quantities are 0, which means what? Z is 0. So this is happening to be true, right? Okay. So similarly, you can very well try and check this t of z1 plus z2. This is nothing but uh, t of x1 y1 plus iota times of x2 plus y2. This is x1 plus y1 minus x2 plus y2, x2 plus y2, and x1 plus y1. This you may split like x1 x2 minus x2 x1 plus y1 y2 minus y2 y1. So this is nothing but simply t of z1 plus t of z2. So option 4 is also a true statement. Since we have verified three statements are true, this has to be the wrong statement, hence it has to be the right answer to this question. We may have that way, or you just have a matrix A, B, C, D. Okay, multiply it with T of Z. Okay, so you would have X, Y minus Y, X, and then A, B, C, D. So this is gonna give you AX plus CY, and this would be BX plus DY, and this would be minus AY plus CX, and this would be minus BY plus dx. From this, if you find the trace of t of that a, you would have, if you take like ax plus cy minus dy plus dx. If you take x as a common thing, you would have a plus d of x plus c minus b of y. So we should have this to be equal to 0. Is it possible? Yes, this is possible. When a plus d times of x is same as that of b minus c times of y. Okay. So if we have this x upon y equals b minus c upon a plus d, if you choose the matrix, whatever may be the complex number that we have as that. Okay, if we choose a b c d in such a way that not all of them are 0, then of course this is going to be, the trace is going to be equal to 0, right? So that is what is said in this problem. We now enter into the part C questions. So given that A is a 3 by 3 real matrix, okay, and X is the collection of GL matrices in GL3FR, which means for general linear group, right? Which means basically the C is an invertible matrix, right? So this okay, we are collecting all such matrices in the invertible 3 by 3 matrices such that the C inverse is triangular. Okay, so triangular, we are talking everything in R. So when do we say a matrix is triangular in R? Only when all the eigenvalues are present in real itself, right? So we are free to choose A, and for that A we'll have to calculate, we'll have to identify the matrix as C. Okay, if I choose my A in this way as a block matrix 0 minus 1 0 0, like sorry, 0 minus 1 1 0, and here I have 1, the rest as 0. Okay, so in this case my characteristic polynomial would be simply x minus 1 times of x square plus 1. Okay, clearly this is not triangulable. Okay, this is basically not diagonalizable, hence diagonalizable over R, hence it is not triangular, right? So which is, so in this case A is not triangulable over R. So x can be empty as well. So for no such C, okay, whatever may be the transformation that you do, you cannot make this to be a triangular matrix over R. Hence x can be empty as well, right? Okay. So for all the other three options, they are asking, they are basically assuming x is empty. Okay, when we choose our x to be an empty set, which means what? Some of the eigenvalues are present in C. So if this is the case, then not all eigenvalues of A are in R. Okay. So, but in C. So over C we can very well diagonalize this one. Okay. Option 2 claims what? It is not even diagonalizable over R. No. We are talking in M3 of R. So if we end up, if this is the case, not eigenvalues, not all eigenvalues are in R, which means some eigenvalues are complex numbers. Since the characteristic polynomial will be a cubic equation with real coefficients, complex roots will occur in pairs. So two can be complex things. One has to be real. So all the three roots are different. Hence, the characteristic polynomial is same as that of the minimal polynomial, which will have three linear factors uh, over C. Hence, it is diagonalizable over C. Okay, and when this is the case, it will have only two eigenvalues in complex. One will be in real only. So option 4 is also false. But actually this question was asked in part C, but still only one option was right. Okay, moving to the next question. uh, X is a finite dimensional inner product space over C. Okay, and this a linear transformation is given to us, then we'll have to examine which of the following are true. Okay, first of all, mm, okay, let me check whether unitary thing will be a self adjoint or not. Okay, what, let me choose some t, that is half times. Okay, half times of 1 plus iota, 1 minus iota, 1 minus iota, and 1 plus iota. So if you take the t star, this is half times of, first of all you will have to take the transpose, or let me just take the complex conjugate first. When you take the complex conjugate, 1 minus iota, 1 plus iota, 1 plus iota, 1 minus iota, and I'll have to take the transpose of this one, that is the same thing only. So this is what we have, right? So now I find tt star, which is 1 upon 4 times of this with this and this with this. So a plus b into a minus b. So a square minus b square, that calculation leads to 4004. This you can very well calculate. So this is nothing but the identity. So this proves that t is unitary, but here t is not same as that of t star. Hence option 1 is false. Okay, let us basically assume t is self adjoint. Self adjoint means what? T is same as that of T star. In order to prove something is normal, we should get T star is same as that of T star T. In this case, this is simply T square. Yes, self-adjoint operators are normal operators. Okay. When we have unitary, which means what? T star is same as that of T star T, which is same as that of identity. Okay. If these two are equal and that is equal to identity, means that is an unitary operator. But for normality, that this t star and t star t should be equal. That can be equal to whatsoever the matrix is. So basically, all the unitary operators are normal, but normal need not be unitary. Okay, so normal means they are simply equal. They are equal to identity or not, that is not known. So just by the properties of the operators, we can very well say option 2 and 3 are the right ones. Moving to the next question, we have a linear transformation from Cn to Cn, and n is any quantity which is bigger than or equals to, and 1 is the only eigenvalue of t. Okay, then which of the following are true? Okay, option 1 claims what? T power k is not equal to identity for any k in n. Consider T to be the identity matrix. Then we are done. All the eigenvalues are only 1. So option 1 cannot be true at all. Right? Okay, since n can be bigger than or equals to, this is what they are saying, right? So t is basically given to be a matrix with only one as the eigenvalues. So we do not know the multiplicity, all those things, but this can be triangulable with 1 in the diagonals. Okay, this can be anything. So if you find out t minus I, this would be what? 0 in the diagonals. Below diagonal also we have 0. This can be anything. For sure, if you multiply it for n times, you would end up with 0. Okay, if it is happening for n, then it would happen after n also. So option 3 and 4 are true for sure. Okay, now option 2 can be true or not, that is a question. Okay, let us examine, let us consider the case, uh, the minimal polynomial of this t. The minimal polynomial of this t is x minus 1 to the power n. Then which means what? We will have an n by n block for 1. So in this case, we will have, so here also 1, here also 1. Yeah, right? So in this case, till n minus 1, this is not equal to 0. Only in the nth stage, we will have it to be 0. If you have some confusion to visualize these things for the n by uh, n case, the order n case, consider t to be 1101. This case, what is your t minus I? This is 0100, isn't it? T minus I square is 0. So only in the nth case, here we have assumed n to be equal to 2. Only when n is 2, you are getting this to be equal to 0. But n minus 1 case, we are not getting it to be 0. So option 2 is not true in general. We are not saying it as false. It is not true in general. Okay, if you consider your t to be simply this, in this case your t minus I itself is 0. That is what it is not true in general. Okay, moving to the next question. Which of the following statements are true? Okay, so first of all, let us recall a result, some results. Okay, two quadratic forms, each in n variables, are isomorphic over R if and only if they have same rank and same signature. You may consider it signature or index. Okay, two quadratic forms over C are isomorphic if and only if they have same rank. Actually, in the first result, you can omit this. Two quadratic forms are isomorphic over R. That is enough. They need not be each having n variables. Okay, these two results are enough to answer this question. Okay, what does the first option say? Any two quadratic forms of same rank in n variables over R are isomorphic. No. What if the signature is different? So they need not be isomorphic in that case, right? So option 1 need not be true. Any two quadratic forms of same rank in n variables over C are isomorphic. Yes, true. Option 3 claims that any two quadratic forms in n variables are isomorphic over C. No. What if the ranks are different? They need not be isomorphic, right? So option 3 is false. It's not true in general. Okay. A quadratic form in 4 variables may be isomorphic to a quadratic form in 10 variables. Yes, this quadratic form in 4 variables may have a rank 4, and the quadratic form in 10 variables can also may also have a rank 4. In that case, they can be isomorphic. So all we need is to check the rank and the signature if it is over R. If it is over C, we just have to check the rank. Yes, that can be happen. That can happen. We are not saying that it is always true. Maybe isomorphic. Yes, that may be. Okay. Moving to the next question, we have a linear transformation which is defined from R4 to R4, and the characteristic polynomial is x minus 2 to the power 4, and the minimal polynomial is x minus 2 to the power 2. So, which means in the Jordan canonical form, we will have a 2 by 2 block. Okay, one 2 by 2 block is mandatory. The other thing can be a 1 by 1 block or a 2 by 2 block. Okay, it is not necessary that the 2 by 2 block should always be here. Okay, like, so these are the options, like we can have like this. So the diagonal entries we will have two. Okay, in all the possibilities we can have, we will have two in the diagonals, and in this 1 by 1 in the 2 by 2 block we may have either one here at this place or in this place. So usually we place it here. In this question they placed here. Okay, that's it. The rest you can fill with zeros and see which of the options are true. So if you check option 1 and 2, okay, the other two cannot be possible, right? Moving to the next question, it is again related with the quadratic forms in 3 variables. Okay, so you just go back to this thing, and these two are the results that is required for answering this question as well. Okay, any two forms of rank 3 are isomorphic over R. What if the signature is different? So this is not true in general. Any two quadratic forms of rank 3 are isomorphic over C. Yes, true. There are exactly three non-zero quadratic forms of rank less than or equals 3 up to isomorphism over C. Okay. So over C we are talking the rank can be either 0, 1, 2 and 3. Since we have quadratic forms in 3 variables only. Okay. If the rank is 0, this forces the matrix is also 0. They have clearly non-zero quadratic form, so this is not possible. Okay, all the matrices of rank 1 over C will give us a quadratic form. They are all isomorphic, so one is there, right? In a similar way, all the matrices of rank 2 with all the matrices of rank 2, you can associate a quadratic form to it, and all of these will be isomorphic. So up to isomorphism means we are considering all the quadratic forms of rank 2 as only one, since they are isomorphic. So in that case, of rank 1 we will have only one, of rank 2 we will have only one, and of rank 3 we will have only one. This is true. Okay, and in the fourth option we have there are exactly three non-zero quadratic forms of rank 2 up to isomorphism over R and C. Over C, okay, over C, rank exactly rank 2, which means we have only one, right? One up to isomorphism. Over R, how many things we will have? Rank is 2. If rank is 2, Signature can either be 0. Can it be 0? Yeah. One positive and one negative. That is possible. Both positive. Both negative. Over R we will have exactly 3 non-zero quadratic forms up to isomorphism. Over R it is true, but over C it is not true. That is why option 4 is not true for this case. Over R it is happening to be true, but over C it is not happening to be true. So that's it. Thank you.